pig like an old goat.
For them out, they go Martin West. For them out, they go Martin East. For them out, San Fernando West. St. Anne's West, Boys Bay North. For them out, for them out, for them out, for them out, for them out.
B&M is the stalwarts of mafia, bubble and corruption. Home of them big liars, big thieves of millions of dollars. Don't trust none of them. Them is the real problem. They're doing me what they want, so they be put up them. We not voting them for King's PNM. We not voting them for King's PNM. King Rowley, King Imbert, King Forest, King Stuart.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South, South Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, we're not voting those four Kings PNM. Four Kings of PNM. You interpret it how you wish, because of course the Calypsonians are known for their double enter or their double meanings. So you take it whichever way, but of course keep it private if you are going on the obscene aspect of it. But that means as it may, of course, once again, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central. We have a bumper program for you as per usual. Of course, we will look at Dr. Rowley's, of course, duplicitous behavior, his bipolarism, his schizophrenia, his saying one thing now and saying several different things about the same thing just now. All of that we will look at. And of course, and to give an indication as to why we are where we are today, having regard, of course, to the fact that we have been depleted. We have been brutally, should I say, undermined by, of course, a government that clearly has no concept as to what economic advancement is. And they have, of course, at every occasion, been able, of course, to deceive and to distress the population of this country. Let's hear a little more about the reality of Trinidad and Tobago in song by, of course, the Calypsonian Massive.
Pumping a pig like an old goat.
Talk too much.
Don't talk about Rowley, he lacking integrity. 23 million in rent and we can't get a cent. We not voting them for King's PNM. We not voting them for King's PNM. King Rowley, King Imbert, King Forest, King Stuart. Living high, dictatorship style. Putting tears in the poor people's eyes. We not voting them for King's PNM. We not voting them for King's PNM. Well, this is your Indian political warrior, massive go sign. Take it in your liver.
Daddy, could you tell me what's the qualification that I must have to be a politician? When I grow up, you must swear on Bible and take false oath. You must use big words to get votes. You must lie and watch me straight in the eye. Oh, son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must shun people when election done. Well, son, that's the qualification of a politician.
In Watson Duke's case,
I think we better, of course, play that again so we get an appreciation as to the reality and the experiences that we would have had over the last 10 years with Rowley and his, of course, bunch of opportunistic political parasites. I say so because at the same time I would like you to, of course, compare Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC and to see whether or not the standard that is required for being a minister or a member of government or addressing our problem has been reached on either side. What we know for sure is that under Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC between 2010 and 2015, Trinidad and Tobago, wise not quite, because you don't want to call a place a paradise, but certainly compared to when Rowley took over, well, one has to say it was a paradise, was past tense. So, of course, once again, let's listen to Chogdas and his, of course, assessment as to what a politician is. And clearly, his assessment can only ascribe or be characterized or put another way. The Rowley assembled a government can be and must be the only people Chogdas was talking about. It could not have been the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
Daddy, could you tell me what's the qualification that I must have to be a politician? When I grow up, you must swear on Bible and take false oath. You must use big words to get votes. You must lie and watch me straight in the eye. Oh, son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must shun people when election done. Well, son, that's the qualification of a politician.
In Watson Duke's case, evidence has been advanced and he has been charged. And that alone disqualifies him from getting a vote in Tobago as a person who wants to represent you. Our opponent wants to run for a seat under a police charge for rape. For rape. For rape.
Dr. Rowley said, come say.
Now, just imagine that. Just imagine. Yeah, I know that you are laughing. I know it is ludicrous. I know that it is about, of course, attempting to obfuscate and pointing fingers at somebody, but 3 fingers pointing back at you. This rapist, this pedophile, somehow has the belly, the gall, the effrontery, and the temerity, because Watson Duke found himself in the position that he did. But I want to also make the comparison in order to generate the distinction between Rowley's case and that of Watson Duke. Watson Duke, yes, he is still on a rape charge, yes. He is still there. But the alleged victim is an adult. The alleged victim is a person of consent or of consensual age. In the case of Rowley, the ugly son of a gun that he is, and clearly hard up for good-looking woman, because he didn't have a doctorate then. He was a lowly teacher and decided, of course, to exploit Miss Allen, the mother of Garth Allen, Rowley's first son, born out of rape. Let's not waste time. The fella last time could tell me now that, yes, I'm accusing now. Yeah, I am accusative now. I'm saying it flat and I'm identifying who we're talking about. Rowley, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, back in 1969, before he entered university as a teacher, raped this. She could have been at minimum 16 years. It could have been before. It could have been 15. It could have been 14. It could have been even 13. How do we know that? The evidence is very simple. She made the child, as she would tell us, and don't get me vexed before I play it, you know. She herself said that she made the child as shy of 18 because she trying to protect Rowley at the time when the PNM Women's Arm under Camille Robinson Regis was attempting, of course, to sanitize and to clear Rowley from the despicable, the heinous, and the predatorial act that he would have committed back in Tobago when he was a teacher. No. There is a lot of what I consider to be allegations. But we can't prove it, so I'm not going to go there. But the understanding is that he did the same thing in Trinidad when he came to Trinidad to teach after he was run out of Tobago. He, Rowley, in Arima. He was teaching at the Arima, one of the Arima secondary schools. But I ain't going there. I'm going from what I know and I could prove. So here it is. Miss Allen, according to her, she made Gat Allen Rowley's first child at age 17 because she said as shy of 18. But we know her date of birth. So therefore we can make the comparison. The point I am making is that if she made him in 1970, we know all that. But let's go straight to the line. So I want to make sure you understand whether post, and it's never too late to know the kind of beast in human form that Rowley really is. I think it's about time that all and sundry know who he is, and therefore you will compare his conduct to, of course, the dastard act that he committed then. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Ken.
Yes. Good night. Good night, Ken. Good night.
Yeah, good night, everybody, and live and everybody else.
Yes, man.
Lennox, I sent you a video on about Rowley, what somebody was talking about. What went on in Barbados there?
In Barbados? Yes, I got it. I'm going to play it in a while. I wanted to use this as an introduction.
Yeah, it's very disturbing, man.
Yeah, very. Imagine even Barbadians washing them out on this man. Washing them out on this man.
Yeah, the Barbadians washing them. Yeah, man. I was very shocked when I hear that. What? Because everybody think they like him, but they're not.
Of course.
They're not going to go for that.
That's right.
Yeah,
so I'll play it in a while. I'll play just after this.
I have a ladies activist lady starting talking about this racial thing, what is Indian people, where they go back to India and all kind of stuff. The lady is crazy, man.
All right. That's another one you sent? That's another one you sent? That's another one you sent?
Yeah, you have it. Yeah,
all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, you have it, man. Lady was very disturbing, man. That
all
lady
right.
activist, you know.
Yeah. No problem. No, all the they will take out all the stops now because it's about the propaganda machinery.
You know?
Not only has collapsed, but it failed to, of course, deliver in capturing the narrative as they speak some diversion. We are able, of course, to counter, and as a consequence, they are unable to gain traction. And I know that is frustrating the PNM propaganda machinery and those operatives who would like to see the PNM on the ascendancy. No way. We'll crush them at every level, at every opportunity, and they must not see the light of day politically in this country.
Yeah, she was talking about how they lose the Grandy. I don't know what it's about Grandy and things.
All right, good. I will check it before.
The whole place is yellow. The whole place is yellow, and there's a part of the port is been only red. That's it.
Yes,
you know, she was carrying on.
All right, no problem.
Lennox, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Yes, we are going to take the initiative at every level. They come in the east, we are going to meet them fair and square. Meet them or beat them. Well, whichever way. They come in the west, we will meet them and or beat them fair and square. In the central, we will meet them there and meet them and beat them fair and square. And of course, in the other cardinal points that I have not yet mentioned, we'll beat them there as well and meet them there. Let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
Yes. I called to say this. I hear Arila resigned from the UNC, but nobody didn't want him there. Lala take a man.
Yeah, Lala,
And
yes,
the
yes,
man
yes.
is
I saw
offended.
something with him resigning. Well, of course,
and he
that
had
is his
about-
option.
Right. He had about 30
But nobody
people.
really
Man had about 30
knew him.
people and Lala.
But
And he
anybody
come out
really
to the
knew him.
world.
He made no significant contribution to the UNC, as far as
He had
I know.
nobody.
He has never been in the
He
news
had
per se.
nobody.
I'll
He
give
come
you a
out and
story
make a
about him
party show.
afterwards.
You put an Indian man, he make a party show. There's
Yeah.
nobody here, one camera there, and one set of bacchanal and confusion. And some UNC people come out there, and they attacked them, and they went in back. And Lala was nobody. He was nobody. And the pundit man, Rambali, he had nobody. He had nobody at all, too. Yeah, so I'm glad. So he resigned from mission. He should do that long time now. Thank you, Lennox.
Yes. And of course, there's always some sinister intent with those kinds of situations, because Lala is always what I consider to be a mischievous guy. We saw him when, of course, he accompanied a pundit in one of the functions of the UNC. And then, of course, we are claiming in such a scenario, wanting, of course, to be aggressive, came there being aggressive, being the aggressor, accompanying the aggressor, and then say that, of course, people are uncivilized and they attack him. And so you cannot go in a rally of the UNC or indeed any political party and attempt, of course, to get an audience or to try to sully the political leader. You will get, of course, resistance. But of course, but the intention was in fact that in order to attract, of course, media attention. That's also, this resignation is what I consider to be null and void and of no effect. It has no impact, even though, of course, the intention was to, and he used nice words. He said that he wished the party all the best, but he can't stay, etc., etc. So, but we know what the intent was. The intent is, of course, everybody knew that he had some falling out with the UNC, and he was part and parcel of the Paris, what I consider to be group that contested the internal elections of the UNC and lost miserably. But let's go to the lines. We have, Fanny, we lost that call, so call back, caller, sorry about that. But I thought it was important, of course, to just interject there. But the point I am making here on my original point is that Rowley has no moral or ethical. The man is a beast in human form. He has no pillar, no character. And character, of course, is one who has a sense of right and wrong. He has none of that. And, of course, personality is what people perceive you to be. And if you have a bad character and you have a bad personality, which, of course, Rowley is saturated with both, it means that therefore he was unfitted to be a politician, one, unfitted to be the head of the PNM, and unfit to be prime minister. And therefore, it could only morphed into a con job by him, having regard to the fact that he has destroyed, he conquered the PNM, destroyed the country, and then decided to leave. But no, not before blue lights and silver bracelets engulf him. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Good night.
Yes.
Good night, Tobago.
Good night, my friend.
I was listening to that crime program last week.
Uh-huh.
And the host mentioned something with regards to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and the new vehicles was issued to them Toyota Hilux and them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what they was saying, like a couple hundred in those vehicles that them get grounded. Apparently, it is alleged that the government owing the automobile dealers and them money for them vehicles and them. Right? So they ground them because of non-payment. So the next question go be is the gas stations and them now who serving them,
Giving them credit, yes. Giving them credit, yes.
Service. Just now, then go be complaining for money just now.
Yeah, because Ishmael just got a court victory, court award for the payment of outstanding monies for some work he would have done for the police service with respect to vehicles. So yes, that seemed to be a current situation, and and somehow it's as if some curse has descended on all of these institutions once they are under, it appears, under PNM. So apart from more crimes or murders than any other time or any other party in government, you have, of course, the collapsing of these different and respective, almost all of the institutions of state in this country.
So based on my contribution last night with regards to the statement that Israel Carnival made with the Observer concerning the collapse, the voter collapsing of the judiciary.
Yeah, yours is, this is further evidence. Yeah, I agree with you. Further evidence.
So what I'm trying to say now is the criminals have a free play then.
Well, listen, your statement is well placed because that is the reality. The Rowley administration has attracted under its belt the 3 highest amount of murders in any government in this country. The 3 highest. When one thought, well, all right, the things are going to get better. The next year, it was, of course, higher than the year before, and of course, last year, the highest of them all. So your statement is well placed. It's logical that it appears that the criminal element rules the roost. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to place the victims, the past victims, and all the murder victims, and them life. I can't place it money, but if it is, they want to do a survey with value some money. Let me use 2008 when we had 550 plus murders.
Yeah.
For that same year, 2 people was convicted of murder. So if you watch how people get convicted for murder and the amount of murder rate people get murdered that particular year, that show you like something wrong. I don't know what's going on in this place.
Yeah, but over the period of Rowley, there has been none. There has been none. And yet you get record-breaking on 3 occasions. Beyond the starting point that you gave, the 2008, which was, of course, when Rowley came in, that was the highest amount, of course, and you had to skip over Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC to then get, of course, the next highest, because it was reduced during the period 2010 to 2015. It's as when Rowley and the PNM came into government, it then started, of course, to beat the record that was stood, according to the caller, and he's correct, in 2008. But you had to skip over 2010, 2015, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and then 2015, and 16, and 17, and 18, and 20, etc., to get, of course, the highest amount of murders recorded in Trinidad and Tobago under Rowley and under the PNM. But you are telling me that Kamala Prasad Bisesa and they doesn't need a heavy mandate to get back into office so as to bring some peace and quiet to Trinidad and Tobago, in addition to, of course, improving our institutions and getting them back on even keel so as to serve the people, because Rowley and they was not about serving the people. That is why they have performed so badly. It was about serving themselves, their party hacks, their party supporters, their party financiers, and to hell with the rest of us. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox.
A pleasant good night to you as well, my friend. Yes.
And on the live, and all the supporters, we need the 40,000.
Yes, man, we're going to 40,000 a night. Yes.
We need. So So all our PNM loyalists and detractors, please call a friend, call up Bali J House and tell them Lennox is calling our leader a rapist. And I want to know why. Because it seems as though they raping at the treasury, raping at the corporation, raping at the state enterprises, and even the fixing at the road, all the rape it with all them holes. So it's a set of rape all over the place. So all are the raping party. Please call a friend, tell a friend that Lennox is talking how they rape the economy out of good wedlock. So Uncle Lennox.
So they are raper, men and women conducting rape not just on human beings but on intangibles as well. The treasury, the various ministries, and of course the various institutions, and we can go on and on. And that seemed to be a very valid disposition at this point in time, because it is clear to us that everything is collapsing around us. But go ahead, my friend.
That's right. And the leader like to rape education, because the Ministry of Education, $7 billion, and they was destitute after a year. You tell me you give them $7 billion and they still are destitute. No way to go, nothing to improve. Eh? The way it is. So you see the Coast Guard, they rape the vessels on them. So they rape it down politically, and in the supporters, the dire, the cause who are coming out and put the finger every 5 years to keep them there to suffer them. They give them political rape and all too, because they do what they don't do in the night with the wife. They do it to the supporters. Eh? So, Uncle Lennox, when all these things is done said, the EBC is staying too quiet, and I want the listeners to know February is finished. So we are 3 months in ordinary time. And when we say ordinary time, I would like to pause to say a little word, if you permit me, that our Holy Father in Rome, let's say a little prayer for a just man who gave his life to divine intervention to Jesus, so we can live better. So just as we say a little word for him, let's try and tell the EBC, get the act together, because the EBC seems to be dragging their foot. And we will, this is serious, brethren. This is the whole thing. If we don't talk about the EBC, all this hard work will go in vain.
Yes,
so
indeed.
The EBC have to be called out, and we have to keep
well, of course, tomorrow I'll talk a little more about what we have done on the corridor in that regard, because we have to keep them on the P's and Q's. Quite right. We have another caller coming in, Mr. Faisabad. You want to wrap up now? All right, okay, so he has wrapped up. Sorry about that, caller. Of course, you can call back now. I tried to, of course, preempt him there so as to accommodate you, but clearly you may or may not have lost the patience, but it is said patience is virtue. You're going to get your say, you're going to get your pound of flesh, so to speak. Let's go. Oh, there's another call, a different call to what I was expecting. But go ahead, my friend. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
Good night to everybody who's on the line. Good night, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
But I wouldn't be long, eh? So, Mr. Lennox, listen to this now. There's a video that I happened to see on another station now. Right? And it was a person from Barbados. And
yes, I'm going to play it in a while. I have it. I'm going to play it in a while.
You have the video? Okay, then. Well, with that I go on then.
Yes, yes. No problem. Yes, man. Yes, indeed. Because they're making a mockery of we were saying that all the time. Trinidad and Tobago has become the laughing stock of the Caribbean, the hemisphere, as far as geopolitics is concerned in this country. And to hear Motley, of course, Mama Guy, this man, I mean, and he stood there ablum because he felt that he was at a loss for words. He was in a state of ineffability. But of course, it was Mama Guy. It was Mama Guy, and he take that because the very Barbadians don't respect him. And of course, we're going to play it in a while. But of course, I thought I should start with, of course, his level of hypocrisy and the fact that he has no moral. He is morally depraved. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Go ahead, caller. Sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yes.
All right. I listen to Chum talking stupidness. Right?
Yes.
You remember which is the country that matched up federation? That's why we make the calypso?
Yes.
Jamaica. Remember that?
Yeah, Jamaica, Mashabi Federation, yeah.
Mashabi Federation.
Yeah. If she knows she didn't want Trinidad to be the capital for the, she should have said so, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we have say 1 from 10 leaves none.
Yes.
Right? So Chum talk this crap about we have to keep our CARICOM. He was happy and all this. Is the same federation he talking about? Right? He more concerned about Jamaica than Trinidad. Right?
Well, I want to tell you that these fellas don't know anything about their history, you know.
Nothing.
Yeah, so that otherwise they will adjust and amend their statements to incorporate that reality and that let's say historical fact. But they're just talking for talking's sake because they have a hole in their face called a mouth. Yeah.
In the face, right? Now, Guyana take over the thing, the summit business, right?
The what?
The summit business what they had now.
Yeah. The 47th regular session of the heads of CARICOM, yes.
They make over Lally, the man in charge now.
No, it's not him. No. Barbados has taken it over.
Barbados take it?
Yeah, monthly, yes. That's why they just have it in the country that's going to take it over. So that's why it was in Barbados. Go ahead, yes.
Okay. I thought Ofalali take it over.
No, he's in charge of agriculture.
Okay, because Ofalali ain't getting nothing about nobody here, you know.
Right.
You remember when they had the thing in St. Vincent? And Rowley fly over there.
Yeah.
And all of them talking about encouraging Maduro in the Venezuela business.
Yeah.
Remember what the man do at the end of all the whole talk?
Yeah, but that's what we said yesterday. We said that the laudations and the diplomatic niceties, that's what it is. But underlying that, beneath all of that, is a seething volcano that could erupt anytime. Because
what do you mean?
Yeah, because Trinidad and Tobago must be not in the good books of the Guyanese. I mean, that's common sense, yeah.
At the end of the session, the man take out the map.
Yeah.
He said, this is the map of Guyana. Remember that?
Yes.
And all they know that. You know, don't come here. I try to play all the encouraging what do me. And then what do take a secret ball and all that thing.
Yeah, you see, Rowley has been duplicitous. You don't know if you're coming or you're going with him. He has been, of course, very ambiguous, and as a consequence, is not a good partner to trust.
What you trust a man like that?
Yeah.
He was even invited and he went over, you know.
Yeah.
To protect his partner interest, Maduro.
That's right.
After Ofalali showed them that map, do you think he wants any part of anybody over here, Lennox?
Of course not. I mean, but they know. So what transpired over the last couple of days in Barbados was merely, of course, what is called procedural in diplomacy. That's all. Yes.
I talk crap, right?
Yeah.
And if Guyana built a floating bridge having Guyana, a Guyanese build that. When ships pass in, you have the good height and everything, right?
Right.
And right now, I didn't see the genius in that. Right now, Guyana hire Germany to come and see about the gas and the oil. So all this shit what you're talking about. And the other propaganda tape on a new program this morning. With Jamaica talking about the go be leaders in the CARICOM. Leaders in the Caribbean. You think I'll study them? They send for a man from Germany to see what they're going like gas Lennox.
Yes.
You understand? So Ghana made them train that. As a matter of fact, when they went over there to build road, after 3 months they saw they forget that. Or they can't build road in their own country above sea level. They come here to build road. They realize it's a waste of time. This short young fella Lennox.
Yeah.
This is Sammy was a real backside and a half, you know.
Yeah. I never was impressed with him. I think he is a neophyte. He continues to be, of course, a neophyte, you know, in every respect. In other words, a Johnny come lately who has been thrust upon him position that he simply cannot accommodate or hold. There are those who are optimistic only because it was given to him. But if it was given to, he's no better than if Rowley had given that position to Hines. There's no difference. Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all right.
And that crowd when they carry down skin up back there.
Yes.
And shaking everybody hand.
yeah, that's how it is. All right, we have some other callers.
Yeah, I know you have more callers.
Yes,
You go
yes.
talk.
All right, yes. Let me see. Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night, Tobago.
Man.
Yes, good night.
The Silver Fox here, man.
Yeah, man.
How things going on
Well, of course, we waxing warm, waxing up. Of course, we as far as I'm concerned, is winding down for Carnival, and then waxing up, of course, thereafter to make certain that the people do what is required. Laventille must be part and parcel of the revolution. That is, of course, 39 seats for the UNC, whatever configuration. And I hope that, of course, we will be playing a major part in the transformation and the development thereafter of the Laventille community in particular, because we believe that if Laventille question is solved, then of course crime and criminality in the country will also be solved. I'm talking about blue collar crime here. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, I hope God get into the hearts of the people in Laventille and show them the way they was going all the time.
Yes, man. Just like Tobago. I always making reference to Tobago.
And
Tobago have a similar
they follow us and
population.
Follow the people at Tobago and make a change in their life.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're married, sometimes you have to divorce your wife because you can't go further, and things bad. And when you do the divorce, your whole life get back together again.
Yes, man.
But what I come to say tonight.
Go ahead.
The people of Trinidad and Tobago, we have to realize Rowley didn't come in power to help us. Rowley did not come in power to help the people of Tobago and Trinidad. Rowley came in power to mash up Trinidad. Rowley is a big educated man, and he must know the things he's doing is wrong. The things he's doing is hurting people. The things he's doing, people can't even breathe under him. If Rowley could have taken away the sun from shining, he would have done it to us. If Rowley could have taken away the breeze from blowing, he would have done it to us. If Rowley could have stopped the rain from falling, he would have done it to us. The man is just evil. The man is just wicked. The man is just satanic. That man was not born of a woman. Anybody born of a woman cannot have that kind of attitude and that kind of behavior. He is not, I don't have he as human. He is just beyond human. Because you can't tell me, I am not closing down Petro Train. I am not closed, and everybody clap. Then you see, and then he closed it down. So where was the people that clap? What they are saying now? This man is a liar. This man that tell untruth. People of Trinidad and Tobago, I am telling you, that man color of his skin. That man is alleged he don't like his color of that skin. When Rowley went to school in Bishop High School, my aunt went to the same Rowley to the same school, Bishop High School. And all what she just keeps saying, that man don't rhyme with the color of his skin. The man lying with the brown skin, high colored people called the Koreans and them in Tobago. And this man don't like us. You saying you are PNM till you're dead. PNM till you're dead what? You're dead already. Because the man don't even like you. He only wants your vote to give us more pressure. Trinidad and Tobago, it's time to get out of it. I am tired to hear about Rowley. It's time to hear something else. And Siojong is not a sensible man, you know. I talked to Siojong personally in a convention in Tobago.
Yeah.
And that man, I don't know, like he hear from this world. Trinidad and Tobago, be careful. Always put somebody that cares about you, and Kamala Prasad Bisasa care about everybody. I was in Tobago and Kamala Prasad was here. She give toys, she give everything to children. She help people in Tobago. She will finish the hospital. All you have some heart, now, man. Stop thinking about who to vote for and who to vote for. All you know, all you bloody welly hungry. All you losing, all you work daily. All you can't even get the 4% back pay. Yeah? What more all you want about voting? All you just have to close all eye and make sure you vote for UNC. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. The President, good night.
Hi, good night, Lennox.
Yeah,
good night to you and to everybody out there.
Yes,
good
ma'am.
night, good night, good night. Lennox,
Hey.
I still have to compliment you on last night's program,
Yes,
Lennox, and today I have been receiving several calls from people, right, who agreed with what you were saying.
Great.
And what it is, one of the things that they said to me was that Lennox was not putting on the people of Laventille. Never mind what the shell nuts and the crayfish posse and them want to say.
Yeah, those are those.
He was trying to highlight.
PNM, what I consider to be recalcitrant, and of course, people who would not want to face reality. Nobody could talk about Laventille like me.
That's exactly it.
Yes.
They don't want to face reality
That's
to
right.
see what the PNM is doing to them
That's right.
after all these years. And you know, you still have them on the chat asking tonight if you're coming to apologize to the community. All you should be apologizing to the community, not Lennox.
That's the joke of the century. But go ahead.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
a pink donkey
Lennox,
they can wait on.
You know, you have to get a little laugh every night.
Yeah.
And the
Comic
thing
relief,
about
yes.
it is,
Comic relief, yes.
I want to agree with Silver Fox, and I want to add a few. He's a rotten gut lion, right? Greedy, racist, evil bastard. That is what he is. He from the devil. He could never be from a human, especially a woman. And I love it like a woman. He could never, because that man is too evil. Lennox, for the things that he's doing, he did to the people of this country.
Oh,
that
yes.
could never be normal. That could never ever be normal, right? Look, tonight I received a notification. 18,000 food cards were taken away from the poor. 18,000, and they're bringing in a bill now, making it harder for the vulnerable to get their pension. You want to tell me that is not the height of wickedness, Lennox?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Lennox, I don't know if you remember some years ago that a child drowned in a bucket of urine and feces, and right there in Laventille, a red bucket, the media describe it as a red bucket.
Man, I will give you some stories. You will make your spine cringe, and maybe your eyes remain shut for days. I can tell you about stories. They who talking there is just talking superficial, superfluous, hogwash. They don't know anything, so I don't bother myself with that. Asking for apology for what? I never see that. That's
exactly.
the reality.
For talking the truth, Lennox.
Yeah,
if
reality
the
is
PNM
reality.
don't want to tell them the truth,
Yes.
they don't want to accept the truth, you understand?
Yeah.
The hell was with them. That's the reality. We saw it in the newspaper. The child drowned in a bucket of urine and feces.
But let me tell you
That's
this.
what the parents were using
Let me
as a
tell you
puppy.
this. Let me tell you this one. I'm just interrupting you a bit to really say this because I didn't complete it yesterday. I remember in my conversation yesterday, I spoke of course, our encounter with Maurice Marshall. Everybody on the Hill will know Maurice Marshall and in the country.
Maurice Marshall,
well, yes.
yeah.
We invited him to one of our graduations. Of course, the media is there and so on, right in Laventille there. And he used that occasion to attack Morgan Job because Morgan Job said that the people of Laventille are swines. And he was upset, and he used the occasion to say that how Morgan Job could call people swine, and that of course he detests that and he denounced it and so on. And then of course when he sat down, I told him in his ears, don't ever do that again. So he was puzzled as to why I would say that. I said, listen, what you just did there, Maurice Marshall, is to admit that the people of Laventille are swines. That's what you did.
Right.
And you had the golden opportunity to say, listen, he could talk how much swine he wants. But look, we have, 200 young people graduating and are going on because they would have, of course, filled their heads and their minds with, of course, the tools for advancement. And Morgan Job, eat your heart out. That is what I expected of a true leader who would want to, of course, advance his people. But no, he used it as a political opportunistic and, of course, ingratiating tool or mechanism. Hold on the tail. You don't do that. If it's me, if I was him, I would be saying, but listen, how Morgan Job could call people in Laventille swine. Look at these young people today. They are graduating. He didn't do that. He said, how you could call people swine and leave it at that and come back and sit down. No, no, I tell him don't ever do that again. Otherwise, I'll never invite you again to any function. You have the right to dress down Morgan Job in a solid and palpable way. You know, those who talking that nonsense in here that I said that I see a Laventille where doctors and lawyers walking down Laventille Hill. They didn't see that part. They didn't see, of course, I'm talking about, of course, voluptuous living. I'm talking about a standard of and quality of infrastructure and buildings and so on, second to none, and similar to that of generally to that of Westmoreans and of course and other well-to-do parts of the country. They didn't see that part. No, they can't see that part because they are about leaving the people in the quagmire that they are because they can't see farther than the nose. Hold on your tail. Go ahead, my friend.
Lennox, you remembered, but you never hear them, no. You never hear them talking about they pulling the children, the school children out of the can, killing them. You never hear them talking about that, but they coming to attack you. You never hear them talking about 8 months, the sewer line that burst in the Beatham and had the people living in that film.
All of that.
You never hear them talking
tell me
about
that is not so. I must say that for what? How does it benefit us? Let me tell you something. When I was part of the Souls Village Council, right in Passage Street, on the edge of both constituencies, where both constituencies meet, east and west. Watch me. When a councillor has to come and visit the center, and we are in dire need, we were operating in very inhospitable in a very inhospitable building and so on. You know, and I see them, they're going to pick the best flower and they're going to put up vase and they're going and of course take their best curtain or the tablecloth and put it. I told them no. When I became in charge, I said no. Let them come and see. Why would you want to dress up that? And next thing, they go and say that everything is honky-dory and they don't, and you are not in need. That is not the way to operate. You must be forthright and you must know what you can leverage as opposed to advance your people. What you tell me about? If you guys that stupid, why? I trying to play that I don't need. When I don't say those things, is it that everything is all right then? Is it that it will go away because I ain't say it? Hello, little. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, Lennox, you have to be cruel to be kind.
Of course.
As I was saying, how many of them came here and defended the people of the beatum with that source of stuff? The thing was stinking to the heavens high. They're living in it.
Yeah.
Right? And not one day they came and defended that Lennox.
And you mustn't talk about it because it existed.
Because Lennox raised an issue.
Yeah.
Because you raised an issue, Lennox. No, that is wrong. Lennox, and the next thing, right? 9 years we have not had an audit from Carl.
Yeah,
but
boy.
you know,
I saw that.
The same sympathizers, right? Who sympathizing with the people of Laventille, saying that how nothing is wrong with Carl. Why do these people keep doing that?
They were showing you is a pattern of behavior to try to deflect attention. We understand that.
Yes.
Is PNM propaganda by extension, and we're going to expect it to be in overdrive or in steroids coming into the next election. But if the die has been cast, 39 seats for the UNC in Trinidad, they could jump high, they could jump low, they could try to deflect, and they could try, of course, to cover up what ought not to be covered up in order for us to get, because the idea here is to tell the UNC that the Laventille community are in dire need, and that therefore if you still have latrines up there, if you still have, of course, people skying, as the term used, me make it up, is a fact. And I said, of course, in order to do, I will show you where to go. Wait, tell me about I call name. Me call no names. I'm saying it happens.
Lennox.
Yeah.
You know where I heard that expression from the first time? From Sherwin Williams, who used to be on the ground report when you all were on the other side.
Beautiful.
That's the first many years ago. That phrase from.
Yes.
Skying.
Yes,
you understand? And Lennox, the media not highlighting Carl have no audit report for 9 years, but the media could highlight that Prakash aligning himself with the UNC to go up with the memoriam with the diamond.
Yeah, well, we know that is more.
The media in this country,
that's nasty. More wishful thinking.
You see how they're nasty?
Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking. Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah,
anyway, Lennox,
thanks
for listening to me, and have a good night.
Same to you, my dear. All right. Yes, indeed. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Calling from San Fernando,
Yes.
I think you're still on that discussion with that thing last night that where you're talking about the issue of skying.
No. The caller just brought it up because some what I consider to be near the well or buffoon might have, of course, make reference to it in a very indirect way. But that is irrelevant to me. We have gone past that long time. We are talking about development. We are talking about fixing the roads. We are talking about fixing the drains. We are talking about improving the homes. We are talking about better schooling, more employment opportunities. That's what we are talking about. And that was merely to show where the PNM has left that place in such a derelict state of affairs in 21st century Trinidad and Tobago. But there are people who can't see that because they are so infatuated, for want of a better term, with an organization that doesn't like them and is prepared, of course, to leave them in that, and they would want to defend something that is indefensible. But go ahead, my friend.
But I just want to tell you this: Laventille is not the only place that's suffering from like that, because I could give you a couple of examples, even from Laventille, right there, right? Now, if you see, the thing about it is this, right? We're talking education, we're talking about seeing about drains and all of that.
Yes.
But I want to ask a question too. Where is all the consultation on local government reform that the PNM had before the local government elections? Where all that gone? Because right now in San Fernando, right here, right where I live here, there's a long drain that runs from Point-a-Pier Road straight down to the sea. right? Almost to the sea, right? That has been in shambles for over 10 years now. It's 3 times the councillor in my area, he got elected to serve. This is his 3rd term. And that drain going through. And right now it's only mosquitoes and stuff like that right through. But also, what I want to say is, that same issue, our people still don't understand what is taking place in this country, you know. Because I'll tell you something. I like right by you there, Kwame Ture used to live, not so?
Yes.
Somewhere around Stokely Carmichael. Used to live somewhere around there.
Yes.
You know what he used to say? And I would always, when I first heard him make that statement, or he said something to the effect of, he always used to come, I heard it and I played that tape over and over to learn it, right? To make it stick in the head. You know, he used to say, organize. And that thing stick in my head. Our people are not organizing ourselves in terms of thinking of the future. You understand what I'm saying?
No. You made a very significant point. You see, I'm smiling from ear to ear because that's the same thing that Robinson told us back in after the devastation of the PNM in 1986. He said that, of course, self-initiative, self-determination, and of course, self-development. And of course, that's stuck in my head from since then. And that is why, of course, in spite of all my studies and so on, I have been able, of course, to focus on a development path that is sustainable for the Laventille community. Is only after all that time, maybe at that time, it might have been precocious, meaning that it might have been an idea before its time. But certainly, it has reached now where the PNM has been so devastating to that community. They have, of course, been so negligent to that community, and they have betrayed that community for so damn long, and of course where they are still living, of course, in what I consider to be Neanderthal cave-like conditions, courtesy the PNM, when they should be emptying the treasury in Laventille, because it's Laventille that saved them, but instead they return evil, pain, ache, agony to the people, and depression. And therefore we must now realize that that is the state of play and must eject the PNM. Go ahead.
Because why I'm saying Kwame Ture said that, because I want you to look at a certain thing very carefully. The Drag Brothers, right? Look at the Drag Brothers, where they started, and look at them today. Laventille, even here in San Fernando, they treat the Drag Brothers like nothing. They just take them and they throw them down on the wharf.
Yeah, they put them, of course, they move them from, you can't be more central Port of Spain than that, on the, where is now the Brand Arab, they used to call it Independence Square, and they move them from there and put them alongside the Dry River on Piccadilly Street, and just obliquely opposite on the western end of the Besson Street Police Station.
Because you see, the amount
where
of
nobody
money
goes nobody goes to do business or will do business in that part of town.
The amount of money that passed through Trinidad, like a dose of salt, sometimes it makes you cringe.
It's heart wrenching, and those of us who conscious must, of course, do what is required in order to alert the authorities, get the people to understand that they have a responsibility to generate the paradigm shift that is required, and stop living in this paradigm paralysis. And let us get on with the advancing of that place that has so much potential.
And one more thing I want to tell you. I want to remind people of this, and I will keep saying it. I was in front of Gypsy when he said it last year.
Yes.
It's $93 million that came into Trinidad last year from the Carnival celebrations. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So How is that? Where is that money? Where has that money
and
gone?
what portion of it Laventille has? Because we gave the country its national culture, steel band and calypso. But today is advisories against these visitors. Their country telling them, don't go Laventille, don't go Nelson Street. But Rowley and them so wicked, evil, dangerous, and totally what I consider to be people who clearly have betrayed. You put them on Nelson Street.
Yeah. You understand? So,
you put them on Nelson Street, you know.
Yeah.
Huh.
But there's
Ungratefulness
so
is worse than witchcraft, they say, boy.
Yeah. But there's so much that I want to say, but you know,
I hear you.
probably would leave it for another day again.
Yes, all right.
Right? So,
Thank you.
later.
Yes,
Right?
yes. Pleasure, good night, welcome.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith. Are
Yes.
you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Nice. I'll tell you wrong something here.
All right.
So the last caller there, when he began talking, I heard him saying that it's not only in Laventille have shit house. That's how I just call it, shit house. Right?
Yeah.
Watch me. I live in a middle class area here, and I know about one person, right? Have a shit house. You see where they kill them people there? That triple murder?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Up on the side in Arima, all of this squatting area, they have shit house.
Yes.
You see them people where they break down the place in the middle class area in Arima, the other day where they mash up the house and things,
Yeah.
the squatters,
Yeah.
them have shit house.
Right.
All up in Matarita and Dump Road, all here, I'm talking on my side, people have shit house. Why is always Laventille that to talk about shit house? People shitting in bag and thing.
No, you're getting it wrong. You don't understand. Then it means that you don't understand.
I talking. Yeah, but don't think with
Man,
that.
you understand what I'm saying, man. I'm saying that all those years, first and foremost, Laventille is on the outskirts of Port of Spain, the main capital city of the country. Understand that. It is the main thoroughfare of the country. And all that money that passed through, Laventille had no right to be still in 21st century having shit house, as you call it, or outhouse. Understand that. Laventille is not those areas that you're talking about, country areas. Fine, no problem with that. They're all over. But I'm talking about on the outskirts and within the city, you having latrines, and you want to condone that? Man, look. Hello. Yeah, Laventille is not those areas you're talking about. It's not. It is in Port of Spain. You know what could happen when the northeast trade winds blow across Laventille Hills and flies go on these on the deposits inside of these latrines and rest on a restaurant in Port of Spain. You know the kind of disease that could spread across the country because people from all over the country would assemble in Port of Spain for a birth paper, for of course for marriage, for some kind of government service, and you are talking about Laventille being the same as the rest of the country. No, I will not accept that. Cannot accept that. Yeah.
You.
Yes. Right, so that's it. I am not going to accept that. Laventille is not the rest of the country. More importantly, the PNM owes Laventille since 1986. And I've always said that if I get the chance, I empty the treasury in Laventille because of the fact that we provided the nation with its national culture, steel band and calypso. We did all of that. How the hell you could treat us in that way? Not me at all. Talking about it is offensive. I don't see it as that. I see it as an indictment on the PNM and the government that claims to be, of course, a black man party, a place that has been occupied and saturated with black people, Africans, and you do them that, and I must condone that? No, I will not. A pleasant good night. Welcome. I think we have a little issue here. Let me just see if I can. Call back. Call back. Yes, indeed. This is not a black and white straight case scenario. Laventille is special. It is special. And that is why I keep saying, if you solve the crime problem in Laventille, you solve the crime problem across the country. And I'll maintain that. They tell me these petty nuances to try to score some kind of empathy or sympathy points. That is irrelevant. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not focusing on that. I am focusing on the fact that the PNM in government for all these years have stood by and see that happening. No way as a part of Port of Spain, Laventille ought to be in that state. We should be discussing latrine in the context of Laventille. Let me just see if I get this. Let me see what's happening here. I'm trying to get that. Right, good, okay. Right. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night. Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, go ahead.
Lennox,
yes.
I want to bring something to the awareness of the people at Trinidad and Tobago.
Go ahead.
Lennox, today an elderly guy was traveling my car.
Uh-huh.
And he told me he went and he also go and renew the ID card.
Yeah.
So wherever he live in, is renting. So when he go to renew the ID card now, they tell him that he had to go and get a letter from the tenant stating that he live in there. Lennox, where we really going as a country? Why it is people have to be going through all this nonsense just to get an ID card renewed? You have to get bank statement, you have to get this, you have to get utility.
A renewal?
Lennox, where we really going?
Yeah, well, it's clear. It's part of the agenda to make it difficult, because the PNM is aware that the writing is on the wall, so they will of course utilize institutions and the institutions responsible for managing elections in this country in such a way. Usually close to an election, anybody and everybody could have gotten an ID card, or the EBC ramps up, provide more resources in order, of course, to expedite the processing of ID cards. But once you see that happening, it means that is clearly one of the shenanigans and one of the attempts by the PNM to slow down the amount of registration, because they know the writing is on the wall. They do not subscribe to free and fair election, an election that is free from fear.
I don't know, so let me make it quick here now.
Yeah.
You say you have to play something that's circulating on Facebook only today. That
Yeah. I'll be playing that in a while.
I want to hear your input on that, because right now I feel like when I order a pair of handcuffs, I want to arrest this man bad. Locked on all this.
I hear you, my friend. The Barbadian people are upset. They're upset. I think it might be appropriate now to, of course, dismiss Rowley from his meltdown. But of course, Watson Juke is on a rape charge, and he, a blasted rapist and a pedophile, and the leader of the PNM, have the audacity, the temerity, the gall, and the effrontery to come and talk that on a platform. That is why Tobago just jettisoned them. They just annihilated them from the politics in Tobago. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Your Uncle Lennox, I want to apologize to the last caller for Hamburger them there, because Miss Arima, like, something wrong with she.
I don't understand that. Or you could compare Laventille with other parts of the country.
So why you want to compare Upper Rima with latrine and from Laventille?
They're mad. You have to be mad.
Which country in the Western Hemisphere have a landfill in the entrance of the capital? Right? So those are the shit. Yeah.
And you're defending that? You're defending that? You have to be eclectic. You have to be smart, in other words. How the hell you could make that comparison? It's the same comparison I made, of course, with saying that why would you put desperados on Nelson Street when you know all the world is telling their citizens and investors, don't go Laventille, don't go Nelson Street. You put desperados on, and because you pay what 14 million to construct that means that it's all right. You have to be smart because it is an exercise in futility. There is no way ultimately that is sustainable for desperados. Impossible. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes, good night.
Oh, you're looking sharp, man. You don't worry about that, man.
No. But you know, there are times when you have to raise your voice a bit because there are people who simply does not make sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, and therefore, of course, you have to disabuse because there are people listening to them and they will make it look as though the
different conclusion.
The infinitesimal argument. It's so thin that you can't see it. When the bigger picture is that the PNM had a right to eliminate all of those things from the area, and the roads were supposed to be, as far as I'm concerned, that's to tell you how passionate I am, be paved with gold because of what they did for the PNM. And you return that, of course, with that level of decadence, that level of abject want, that level of poverty, that level of crime and criminality, that level of gang warfare, and you want me to countenance that? No, I will not. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead, my friend. No way.
You don't go through on that side.
Yeah, I'm not sympathizing with anyone on that.
Let me talk something with some sense here a little bit.
Go ahead.
No, when the education portfolio go into progress. No, you will be having, I guess, like different the MLIO with the different sections. Like I'm just using some reference here now, right?
Yeah.
Like we have masons and carpenters and mechanics and whatever.
Yeah.
Now, having a suggestion in my mind that thinking, I see something on the news just the other day that they have almost, as far as the eye could see, some of these police vehicles and them that in a cemetery that look, some might be good, some might be good, some might be just one or two things that change. We don't know.
Yeah.
But we can have some of these the different organization in Laventille, I'm using that as a specific now, where we will have these shops and they could get one or two of these vehicles, get them back on the road, get them approved after the fact, where the kids and them could work on these vehicles, get them back and approved, get whatever material and whatever it is to maintain it and get it back on the road 100%, and start giving back to the area at least to get these vehicles and them going. Because I mean, I'm just saying, our kids, when I say our kids, the kids and them that will be learning in this environment, it's not going to be kids that who will just learning something, that will be their profession. So what I'm trying to say, we have straighteners, we have painters, we could bring these vehicles and then back to where it's supposed to be, and invest in them, put the money towards these vehicles so they could bring it back to society then. In other words, then they will have vehicles that the police and them could use back to help. You understand? No matter if it's one plus one is two. So what I'm trying to say is so many vehicles we have. If you see it, I know you probably didn't see it. It's like hundreds of vehicles that they have in a pet, like in a pet cemetery, I should say. Only cars and so what I'm trying to say is that we could use those vehicles for the kids, get them up running, and
that will be something that they will say, well, yes, we fix this. This is on the road. We fix that car, we fix that van. It's on the road for the government, for back to society. We did that. So, I mean, it's something to think about. We could go that way, you know. I mean, there's many things. I'm just trying to see, I'm so excited at what it is we doing that I'm looking for any little thing for me to achieve. More or less instead of just sitting there and just waiting and twiddling my thumbs and wondering. I just ready to go. I just grabbing at any little thing. I could take a leaf on a blade of leaf and make a basket and sell it and all. I should tell you. So we trying something there, Lennox. All right, so listen off here. Maybe you could have something, but I'm really thinking about them police cars and them. They're just sitting there and we can fix it. Including all them boats and them we have out there, all these ships that they buy, and we have sitting hundreds of ships because we don't know what it is they need. We have the people in Trinidad to fix them boats and them ships and them to the borders. So let me think about it and let me go further. Laventille, all the way. Blessings.
Yes, but you saw me smiling, and you saw me, anxiously wanting, of course, to press the button when you would have completed your presentation. I want to tell you, go to the top of the class. I want to tell you, my friend, that is the kind of thinking that we must engage in moving forward. Because I'm going to tell you, when the MLIO Trade School was in its heydays, that is exactly what we used to do. We would apply to, of course, the police service, the army. We didn't reach boats as yet, but the police service, the army, and of course PTSE. And apply for those derelict vehicles, those vehicles that would have been in the graveyard. In those days, it used to be outside the barracks in St. James. And every year, through, of course, the Ministry of Finance and through the Comptroller of Accounts, we would get a couple of those vehicles, and it served two purposes. One, for training purposes, and the other one, of course, is to rehabilitate, to use back, to bring students to school, and to, of course, give at a peppercorn price a person who we believe could still pull bull. These vehicles could still pull bull, or we use it for our own purposes to take our staff and students to and from various missions and of course, official duties. Well done, my friend. That is the kind of thinking we're talking about. And once we have that, because those vehicles are there doing nothing, and they will do nothing, and they will, of course, be overgrown, or should I say, be overrun by overgrown nature, bush and vine and so on. And that is what the government should be thinking of. And that is how a typical Laventillian should be thinking, in order, of course, to flood these places with opportunities. That's what we're talking about. Well done, my friend. I cannot, of course, over compliment you, but go ahead, caller. Sorry about that, Ken.
I had to call back. I wasn't going to call back. I was listening.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Rima. Mr. Rima. This is Rima, or whatever it is. I understand what you're saying, but when I was living in Trinidad many years ago, we used to pass up and down the dump and, Laventille side, and that years ago. And the state of the country, not Laventille alone, I mean everywhere else, should not be in a state of that state in this century. I understand where Mr. Lennox is coming from, right? Should not be in a state that the amount of money passed through in Trinidad with oil boom. Everybody should be living a comfortable life in Trinidad. I was there, I went to certain places and I see. I didn't get in depth in it, but I was just saying it's very sad that people have to be going out house still. Which is not saying nothing wrong with that. It should be, But I'm saying at this time and age should not be happening being that. Either it's Laventille or where. And it should never be like that. And the government should have houses for these people who can afford it. They can afford it. They could afford it. The amount of million and billion and trillion of dollars passed through Trinidad. It's a shame that the people who did not inherit that the business people and the politician and whoever there and corruption steal all the money from Trinidad. So that is what you get. You know, and people is not doing anything about it. It's their hand tied. Is what they're gonna do. They don't have. Look what's happening right now with the economy. That should not never be happening. Everybody have a chance to live a life. All the money that have of O'Halloran coming back. Where all the money went to? Somebody else's pocket and business place all about in different country. And Trinidad and Tobago, people are suffering for that. And this is what they get. Yeah, Mr. Lennox, that's all I have to say, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have another caller there. Sorry about that caller. Call back. Sorry about that. But the point I am making here, I am not condemning outhouses. I'm not condemning it at all. It would have had its place at one point in time. All around Port of Spain would have had outhouses. That was the technology that was known then. But this is Port of Spain. Laventille is on the eastern outskirts of Port of Spain. In other words, if you're saying that is all right, then it is all right for me to have an outhouse on Nelson Street and Duncan Street and Piccadilly Street or what? That you're telling me? No. That is Port of Spain. We are talking about the capital, the main thoroughfare and commercial and political and educational center of the country. That is our capital city. And of course, Laventille is a stone's throw. And all that money that passed through, according to the last caller, Laventille ought not to be in that position. And I'm saying that it has positioned itself, and it's not the fault of Laventille, you know, it's the fault of the PNM successive government. I'm not blaming Laventille for that. It's them have it like that. If they wanted, of course, to develop the place, they would have done it long time ago. But that is not their priority. And it cannot be countenanced. Cannot be. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Dr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide. That's kind thing, right?
Mm.
That first to begin, I hear you talk about the good part of Laventille and all over Laventille that wouldn't be going on. We don't know that. Any poor area, these things just happen. Oh God, these big people. Any poor area, right? Any ghetto area, you will find people slinging feces, right, in the bush. Right? Any poor area, that's you understand. So that is small thing, right? Any poor area that has been going on. So that is not an issue, and make it worse. You talk about the good parts of Laventille. So I as big people, we supposed to let go that long time, man.
Yeah, I don't know what they're making it an issue for. I made it very clear that listen, the PNM has been in office for too long. Laventille has been too devoted to PNM to be in a situation like that. That's all I said. And common sense will tell you that is a rational position, that is a logical position, and that's a fair position. I have not condemned latrines as per se. I'm saying that ought not to be on the outskirts of Port of Spain, on the outskirts of Port of Spain in 21st century Trinidad and Tobago, and for that alone, the PNM must be dismissed from the conscience of the people and the operations of government by these constituencies who still have that as part and parcel of their daily lives. That's a madness.
Correct.
Yeah. All right then.
Correct,
Thank you very much
correct.
for your intervention.
Yeah,
yes, indeed. So I want to get back, of course, to the vehicle and the repairs thereof. Yes, my friend. What we did when we get these vehicles donated, we will try to get the same kinds of vehicles. So if it's Toyota, right, Nissan, etc. And then if we get 3 vehicles, obviously they are not working. We take parts from each one and make up one. And in the process, the other vehicles are used for training purposes. So they will weld, they will understand the braking system, they will understand, of course, the cooling system of the vehicle, they will understand the suspension system, and we use it right there inside of the department responsible for auto mechanic or in the case of straightening, you call it auto straightening or auto repairs in that regard. And of course, electrical, auto electrical as well. We did all of that. All of that. So well done, my friend. That is the kind of synergy you're talking about, to build capacity and to, of course, give the young person who are exposed to these programs an opportunity to do well and not gravitate to a life of crime. Because once you have them in the training environment, because the carrot is really the trade. They come in there for trade. They come for talk. But once they are there, in that environment, in that training environment, you could now talk to them. So the first thing is to get them to come for training purposes. And you must make it sufficiently interesting so that they see it as worth their while. Seeing it as important to them. And let me tell you something, as you're talking that, because I think we have to understand, and we could do it again. I stopped doing it simply because the P&M was had the most benefit from a program like that. And because it's Lennox Smith, and they know Lennox Smith anti-P&M, or that Lennox Smith is an outspoken person and will tell them as it is. They don't want, of course, Lennox Smith to be hem of that. So they prefer to have none of it and have these young people gravitate all over the place. All over the place. And then, of course, Satan finding work for them to do. So they're linemen all over the place. The very purpose of that program was to take them off the lining and put them into a training environment. And of course, you get an opportunity to talk to them. And let me tell you how that program worked. Because no other program, no program you go throughout Trinidad could accommodate a program like what we would have executed as far as MLIO is concerned, the Mobile Laventille Improvement Organization Trade School. Over 300 youths in a very inhospitable warehouse. Stuffy, humid. The galvanized, no ceiling. Heat like peas. Dusty. But they were there, 300 of them. That's a typical school, 300 is a typical primary school or secondary school, And they gravitated. Why? Let me tell you one of the things that we did, just in case you believe. Because I'm glad that these kinds of discussion come up so that we are able to, of course, expatiate on what we have done. Not to be like most of these politicians. I will do it when I get in. No, we have done it. So one of the things we do when they are registering for whatever program, apart from doing 2 programs at a time, one minor, one major. Yeah, if you're doing, for example, you like auto electrical, we will give you a short course in house wiring. Yeah, so that you have 2 skills in effect you're graduating with. But that is not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is that part of the registration is that one, the parent or the guardian must be there. Two, that we will ask the question, rhetorical as it is, but it's important. Are you interested in a social welfare? Are you interested in, of course, support for the child? In other words, through the Ministry of Social Development, because we would have communicated with and have an arrangement with the Ministry of Social Development to put every single child on a welfare. So therefore, the parent will now get a little $800. Those days was $800 to $1,000. So they guaranteed. But what did that do? We were thinking how to make certain that these young people stay in the program and get the parents involved as well, so that will help us to focus on that young person in order for them to get the best that they could get in the circumstance, and of course go on to live a decent life. That's what that was all about. So when we say when we ask the question, obviously everybody will say yes. But it's important to understand that in exchange for that, when we tell you come to parent teachers, students, notice again, parent teachers, students meeting, you must be present because we will record. And we tell you that we will take you off the program, we threaten you, take you off the program if you don't. And you wouldn't believe, A.N.R. Robinson, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, former, he used to visit our program every month, religiously every month, in those same inhospitable conditions. Why? Because every month when we have these parent teachers student meeting, the student is a part and parcel of it, just as a university you have a student guild. Well, we have of course a student guild in that context for that very purpose, to seek the interests of the students, because we talk about 15, 16-year-olds we're talking about here, very, very vulnerable and very susceptible to all kinds of attractions, and they could go anywhere, but we were able of course to focus the attention in such a way that parents are involved, because the parents they don't want to come off with the welfare project. They don't want to come off that at all. They don't want to lose that $1,000 or that $800. So they come religiously. That is what you do. That's the kind of synergy we are talking about. And let me tell you something. Every single student, before they leave, especially the boys, we put a mechanism in place with these licensing office to give them, especially if those who cannot read and write properly, but you have a academic test. Who cannot make with the academic test, we give them a verbal test. And every single person would get a driver's permit. Yeah, and you know why? Because we are satisfied that in a concrete jungle that Laventille and East Port of Spain and elsewhere is, Beetham, etc., is, you can't go in the bush and pick mango again. You can't go in the bush without difficulty, or go by the seaside and catch a fish like what you could do still even now. A youth in Mayaro and other country area. So we know that when a young man gets a license, he could always get a job to drive some vehicle, whether it be for a company or otherwise. So they leave it with a license in their hands. Understand that? That is the kind of development we are talking about. So they don't have, or to put it another way, the temptation of picking up a gun is less. Understand that? Understand that? So we would do program like these. And let me tell you something, there's another component of that program that nobody, no formal institution could do. We have what is called a community activity session on a Friday. And on that occasion, the whole school, they divided up into, of course, groups. So they have debates taking place. And let me tell you the kind of debates we're talking about. Real life, serious business. That's why you will find it very annoyed with people who don't appear to suggest that they don't understand what the development parameters and the building blocks are in order, of course, to transform this place. We have to do it. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, good night. I'll also come in that conference.
Yes, go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
Now, the PNM government, they disrespect the people of Laventille.
Obviously.
The people of Laventille is the backbone of PNM. And let me tell you something. I'll talk to Trinidad and Tobago now. I take my mother in Laventille some years ago. And it was a school morning. And if I tell you something, my mother was open, she mouth to me and said she never seen that before. The children of Laventille, and I'm boasting about that. The children of Laventille, I got to be going and I'm boasting about that. They're telling people good morning in other places in Trinidad. I wasn't getting that. The children of Laventille, they have good respect. And the PNM government throwing them away. They're throwing them away. And even the people who control big business, when these people come to you for help to get a work, and they're telling them from Laventille, you're turning them down, and they're full of skills. They're taking that aunt, uncle, and nan to get you're keeping them out of society. And then you're saying you love them when election comes. People of Laventille, the PNM government don't love all you. Or you have to start to love all yourself and love who love all you. Vote for UNC. Vote for UNC. And your trouble's going to be over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have another caller there before we go, because he touched another good point again, because we have been there. We did that. All right, let's go to the line before, of course, I continue. There's much more. You figure we joking? There are people in there who have given their lifeblood to advance that place. As the PNM is the major concern. Why do you think we form love? We form love, the Laventille Outreach for Political Enrichment, because we realize that at the level of the community, we are going nowhere, because these people believe that somehow they can impose their incompetence, their impotence, and their indolence on the people, their laziness, and of course their exploitative agenda for political, what I consider be voter bank purposes. Voter bank purposes. That's what they have done. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox. Good night.
Yes, good night to you, my friend.
Good work.
Yes,
I just called to respond to that outhouse. My daughter, them with UE, Mr. Lennox, 11 years ago, and them learned that in UE that Laventille have outhouse. And in UE, they learned that, and I say based on race, based on party. So there's nothing surprising. We learned that based on
I don't understand why they're making a big deal, because the reality is said. I don't understand it. When there's so many other opportunities, so many other developmental issues that would have either been practice, experience, or will be rolled out in future. Why that? But I still maintain the PNM caused that to be, and they alone must be blamed for that. The presence of those kinds of facilities so close to Port of Spain. That is my point.
Yes, in history they learn that and all, exactly what you say. And which part would you get somebody like you to explain everything to really deal with situation in Laventille?
Yeah, they prefer to throw a blind eye to that.
Deal with things, yes.
The PNM is responsible for those outhouses and those other facilities associated, of course, with the disposal of human waste in this country. I talk yet about garbage disposal, you know. All over ball when I talk about garbage disposal and what happens in certain parts of the country, the constituency with respect to that. They just dump it over a hill. Go right in Sugar Trace. Sugar Trace, it is below. It is like a valley, and of course there is a hilltop. And the people that throw the garbage over there, they don't go and put it by the road. I suppose now that the swimming pool is closed to it now, they probably has cleaned it up and they stopped doing it. But that was a normal thing. And in every ravine and every, of course, a place where might be lonely, they dumped their garbage. But I will deal with that at another time. And PNM is responsible for that.
Good work, Mr. Lennox. Good work you're doing, because we never hear you PNM, anyone at PNM minister talk about what you're talking about.
Of course, they will not.
And bring progress and bring betterment. Regardless of what, that is our people, and I like how you're talking straight down to the ground to really deal with it, Mr. Lennox. We do support you. All right, then have a best night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What tell me about? So let's get back, of course, to the developmental issues and the synergy that we are talking about. So when a young man get a license in the hand, but they're proud too bad, if you see smiles on the face. You see, it cannot happen, or I shouldn't say it cannot happen, but it is less effective in a countryside environment, because they still have access to a little fish. They still have access to a little mango, a little ground provision, etc. And most importantly, they in MLIO and other what I consider to be concrete jungle environment could still bubble up a pot, put 3 stones in the forest or in the road or wherever it is, and bubble up a pot and cook to eat. You bubble up a pot in Laventille and you burn down a whole blasted a set of buildings. You burn it down. So you must have money in Laventille to survive. That's the point I am making. And therefore we have to create ways and means of them getting that money. Has nothing to do with this petty stupidness that you want me to focus on. I will not defend that. That is nonsense. I am showing you that it has been tried already. We did it already. And let me tell you something. During COVID, for example, when the fellas couldn't get anything to eat, it started where they start to come together, putting up money and so on. They go and pawn their little gold and so on because nothing happening. The place shut down, but they had to eat. And so, in little corners and so on, you see, they started, of course, to put the money together. And when, of course, you have no money for gas, because you must have money in order to buy gas, in order to use the stove. They started to cook collectively. But you cannot do that in a developed or a concrete jungle environment, because you could burn down a whole block. That is why I'm going to tell you something afterwards about what Gypsy told me some time ago when I was talking the same kind of talk. I'll tell you. Because let's open up the blasted place, man, and understand that this is a different time, and the people of Laventille must open up their eyes and understand that there is better, and the PNM is the worst thing that could have ever occurred for them, because they have treated loyalty with evil, wickedness, betrayal, and see you as a voter bank, full stop, a crapo and a balize tie, and you go vote for them. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Oh, let me see. Yes. Sorry about that. Go ahead, caller. Sorry about that. Yes.
Well, you touch on some of my hard face base what I was trying to talk about, and we're still in them people in PNM. Is that how PNM treat them?
They can't face it. Anybody who against that. They can't face because they repose their trust and all the faith in that over generations. I understand the difficulty, but don't blame me. You have to blame the PNM. You had to hate the PNM sufficiently to go to the blasted polls and say, listen, this is nonsense. Smith is talking the right thing. You must say that when you go home. I know that. And therefore, and therefore, 5 years is not an eternity. 5 years is 5 years. And give the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisasa a chance to treat with that problem on the hill and on the flat, because Laventille is on the flat and on the hill. And let's get rid of these problems that have been lingering and of course fomented by the PNM for all these decades. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, well, Laventille is the wrong tongue. To me, Laventille is the wrong tongue.
Yes, on the eastern side.
Remember, as I tell you, I just go by Prince. I used to go by Ryan and drink my beer and my Spagua. But I say Laventille is wrong because most of them, when you see the people, when they had the shooting and thing with Big Chest Alexander and thing, it's people from Laventille and they come along.
But obviously, we know that. We know that. That is why we are saying that the paradigm shift must be pursued, and of course the attitudinal change must be a priority, and that there are ways and means, and only Laventillians could do it. Nobody else could do it. No police could do it. No politician who once was
with me there. Maybe you working me there. He not too big, not too young. You know, we coming up. He tell me, he say, listen, in Laventille, them fellas on them ready for a change, you know. It's them old people on them. Still there with the PNM choppiness, you know, Lennox.
Yeah, and those that are recalcitrant, no matter what I say tonight, they go in and generate a catharsis and purge themselves, because they cannot, they can't believe that somebody bold enough to express in the way that I have the reality of their situation, and to know that they are humbugging the advancement of the country because you want to pursue what Balize House, the leadership of the PNM, want, and that is for you to stay where you are, not advance. And then of course they turn and lego a tonload of police on you. You have to pay property tax too. You have to pay all the taxes that they would have conjured up, including of course light bills and water and so on. All of that you have to pay. Go ahead.
They went up there to talk about property tax. Who paying property tax up there?
Nobody will pay, but they will be given their notices as well. They won't pay. They don't pay. Some don't pay. Look, the police just went on Nelson Street the other day to initiate a raid, and they had to bring the TNTech police to disconnect illegals. So they have ways and means of surviving in a concrete jungle, but of course not in the normal sense, because they will find ways and means. Let me put it that way. I'm not going to identify anybody as the case may be, because they had to survive. So I'm not on that. I am on opportunities that could be pursued for legitimate contribution to the society and themselves. That is what I'm talking about. You have a good skill, you could go and of course work, and you get a good salary, and you could pay your light bill, etc.
Yeah, but Lennox, you work in Laventille, you could pay $6 come long in town. Take a mover car, take a Piccadilly car, take one of them car, pay $6 and come long in town. Work in town, get a salary every time. You more than could educate yourself than looking to get a corporation work wherever, and that is what the PNM feed them all the time. So who is to break that 40-something year? Because
they themselves have to do it, my friend. They themselves. That is what this is all about. They themselves. Because corporations can't provide all the jobs. It's obvious. Otherwise, they would have been able to do it. They would have been working. Everybody will be working in a corporation. It's obvious. URP can't provide all the jobs. CPEP can't provide all the jobs. There will always be a group that will not be able to access work, but they have to eat still, and therefore gang warfare, crime, criminality, violence, etc. You name it. It's obvious. It's common sense.
Lennox,
Yeah.
how come? I don't get vexed at me.
Go ahead.
Don't get vexed. How come everybody know Central Crown? No, it are parts getting bad in Trinidad, just like Laventille.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could agree to that, eh?
I agree, and I will tell you something.
Yeah.
It started with Laventille. Anyway, talk about anything. Gun Hill in point.
I would say it started with Baka, and I could get.
Well, right. When you make my point, if it started with Baka, it started Laventille. We think Baka had his grounding. Who you think made up the hundred dissidents, if you want to call it that, or the potential coup activists? It was from Laventille. They recruit them from. Where you think they recruit them from? But I will tell you something. If you don't know, when they cannot, of course, communicate with their potential or partners in other parts of the country, whether it's Point, whether it's Central, etc., they meet them up in jail. They meet them up in jail and they make friends. You feel that matrix is a easy, simple thing. It's not at all. It is much more complex than you think. And you're talking to a man who know. Me asking no question. I could tell you about Rennie Paul. I could tell you about Fresh. I could tell you about even those who died recently. Even of course the one from John there who died, of course, in Wallerfield. I could tell about all of them. I could tell about Sa sons.
That boy Kojo is Kojo.
Kojo from Laventille Road. Laventille Road.
Yeah.
All of them came to me to either train their children or they recommend young men who they figure should not be in this negative or subterranean culture, and they send them to my program, the trade school. I could tell you about that. I could tell you about Sean Francis and some of the students that he sent to us who were holding guns.
That was saying, Lennox.
Yeah,
me talking to you down. Me talking to you funny people, and I talking to you from down in the dirt. Look, Spanish and all of them used to send men to do certain things and to do education, because even the root boy and them used to send them youth men to do certain things because they didn't want.
Yeah, that's right. There's some of them who they don't want to get where they are, and therefore will send them to more positive. But because of the grassroots nature of the MLIO program, and I set it up so because we wanted to capture those kinds of youths. Yeah.
Lennox.
Yeah.
A proper example is young brother.
Who?
Young brother.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Silas, young brother, who's singing now?
All right, we have some more people wanted to call, and I want to get my information out, so you would appreciate that. Yeah, okay, no problem. And let me tell all you something. To come into MLIO Trade School since 1984, what was the criteria? What was the criteria? Well, I feel I don't know what I'm talking about or what. What's the criteria? The criteria was and still is, you are either engaged or have the potential to engage in crime. That is why we would take you first. We had fellas coming from, of course, Trinity College who didn't do well in school and wanted to get a skill, and we will reject them. We had some coming from Central. We had some coming from Arima and so on. When we catered for the Laventille area and environment, God knows we have enough of them. And we used to reject them because you had to either be engaged or have the potential to engage in crime. And mind you, every single organization, whether you're a village council or whether you are a training oriented organization or you are kindergarten, etc., once you are a leader, we send letters of recommendation for these people to send two students who meet that criteria to get scholarships. That is how we used to get 300 and 400 On the one hand, we making no money, but the idea was, of course, to expose them to the rich and rewarding experiences that they would have had in the program, man. Rowley and them stopped that. Manning and them stopped that. What are you telling me about? So if a song hateful, if a song revengeful, it's because I know that could have been the panacea to address the problem. And we didn't have to reach this stage where, of course, we have over 600 murders in this country. I finished yet, you know. I finished yet. We know that. We know that. A person, good night. Welcome. A person, good night. Welcome. Yeah, loud and clear. Go ahead, my friend.
Right, I give you a quick call.
Yeah.
If you could take up Sophie Carmichael tomorrow, he will tell you, I want to bury my name Sophie Carmichael. You know what I'm telling you? Tomorrow night, I will tell you why they get rid of that man out of this country.
All right.
We are trying to talk about that tonight.
No problem.
If you could dig it up, he will tell you, I want to bury my rightful name.
All right.
Sophie Carmichael.
Okay. Yes, man.
If my name was reason. Why are you in this country, right?
Yeah, okay then.
So we will leave that for tomorrow night.
Yeah, leave it for tomorrow night. Thank you. Yes, people. This is serious business. When in the aftermath of the 1990 coup, I'm finishing here because it's 10 o'clock already and we started on time. In the aftermath of the 1990 coup, knowing full well that the majority of those young people would have come from Laventille, that Abu Bakr and they encouraged, of course, to engage in that kind of violent attempt to overthrow an elected government. You know what we did at the level of the school? In the aftermath, I took the welding class. I think there might be another class, but the welding class in particular. And every single business from Mova Junction to the flyover in Port of Spain, we went and we weld up the doors and we did repairs. We did that, and those youths would have been given the lesson of not to engage in those kinds of activities. But I'll tell you what transpired that makes it, of course, a very proud moment for me. Proud moment for me. You think Hines and them studying that? You think Rowley and them could think that far? What the hell are they telling me about? We have given them enough time. It's 6 decades. And look the state of the place, and you're concerned about what? What? What are you concerned about? Concerned about the transformation that these young people could be engaged in and the opportunities that they could benefit from by persons who know and who, of course, are prepared, of course, to take the bull by the horn and deal with the matter as we did in the past. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, I decided to call back.
Go ahead.
You know why I decided to call back?
Yeah.
Because I'm agreeing with you. Because what I was saying just now is an attitudinal change that really needs to take place.
Of course, that's what is required.
But this happened. Now, I only hope that nobody then mistake me just now because I was trying to say that other places have the same, but you know.
No, man. Listen, you're in the right place. I am not an unreasonable man. I know all of that, but I always focus on Laventille because of its special historical, cultural, creativity, inventiveness, and the monumental neglect for being loyal to the PNM. That is what I am my focus in. And once you settle the problem of Laventille, you settle the blue collar crime across the country.
Across the board, yeah.
Across the country.
The thing is, while saying so also,
yeah, go ahead.
I was using the analogy with the committee waiting where you say organize.
Yeah, I hear you.
But let me just go down a little further. Right? It's
It's like, you know, you have I mean, I'm using an analogy here.
Go ahead.
Right? It's like when you don't clean your place. What we are saying is that this area like Laventille, it needs to be cleaned up. If you're in a room, I just using an analogy. If you have your room, right, and you're just like, you know, it's an attitudinal thing. You take you suck a sweetie, you throw the paper there. You
end up with a blasted dump in your bedroom.
A dump yard,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, and it's only when you keep your place clean. And this is where I'm blaming the government, that they're using Laventille, right, and not trying to bring a kind of clean up to the area so that we attract more people, because Port of Spain is really a lot of people do business in town, you know.
But
right?
but Port of Spain is the capital. It is the administrative, political, administrative, commercial, as well as, of course, the seat of government is there. The Red House is in Port of Spain, you know. Oh.
And this is why I asked the question earlier on. They had consultation on local government, and it was all across the board, even in San Fernando here. I mean, I'm not taking away from Laventille, but even in San Fernando, and I use the analogy of the drag brothers, we suffer the same thing where they treat these people like.
Yes, but if you settle the Laventille question as a focus,
thing,
it means therefore this model could now be transplanted, because that is what the intention was for MLIO. That is what we planned, you know, that when we would have completed the MLIO exercise, and that is how, of course, the technology and continuing education center just before the flyover there developed, you know. But of course it was inchoate, it was incomplete. It was incomplete simply because the PNM came in and scuttled the entire thing, because they believe that somehow once they are present, somehow things will just fizzle out and settle. But the harsh reality is that you have to work. You have to work towards it. You have to have ideas. You have to be creative. But you cannot just say, I come into government, and as you come into government, murders just escalate. Oh gosh, come on. Yes. We've been there, we've done that. That don't work.
No, I'm saying all of this tonight because of that same caller that called last night. And I want you to be listening to this, because...
But I'm sure that he is. I'm sure that he is. And he will have a different position now. Now that he gets a little more information, because nobody would be listening to all what I have said earlier and still take a position that is so minuscule, so insignificant, so infinitesimally what I consider to be nonsensical, that you wouldn't listen to the broader issue of why it is that we are in the state that we are in, and ought not to be because of one entity, the PNM.
The PNM? No. Some time ago I was by you, and you told me that some of these PNM people, their head full of nonsense, right?
Yes.
Not so?
Yes, of course.
You know, so... What
I will be talking more about those things as well, because one of the impediments to advancement, like what I'm speaking about, are these people, because they take gauge from Balize House. Balize, they have no independence of thought, you know. Notice even Maurice Marshall was the victim of that. Balize House tell him to do a particular project that would normally take maybe about a year, because of course Manning didn't like him. He tried and he died trying. So they will do you that because they want the status quo to remain. Why you think people like Leon, people like Donna Cox, people like Hines, people like of course those that they are now selecting for the Laventilles. We think their role is to toe the line. They cannot come up with no ideas, you know, of their own, because because I used to be with Maurice Marshall on a Friday, on a Saturday, in spite of all what what they may say about me and my anti-PNM stance. But I used to be with him, and he would tell me, and the pressure that they put on him, because of course he was becoming more and more popular than that of Manning, and the Balizé leadership decided, of course, to put pressure on him. He cannot become more significant than Manning, and therefore his ultimate demise, as we are seeing right now. As we are seeing right now, why you think Rowley could afford to voice a Chinese man as leader in the house? Why you think he could do that? Because of that Balizé house instruction and monolithic dominance, and therefore not one of those candidates or one of those parliamentary representatives could come off the beaten line. Watch me. As soon as they came into office in 2015, everybody should know by now, Gart Christopher, he had under the UNC a homelessness center, and Heinz and Leons stood by and watched the PNM close it down because he was talking anti-PNM talk. It doesn't matter whether or not the thing benefiting the youths and them and giving them computer literacy, upgrading, and of course making them more competitive in the school environment. It had nothing to do with that. Do what you say, do what they say, and of course Laventille must remain, of course, a vote bank. It's only me and Archbishop Burke and people like that have broken that yoke and gone forward. And so far, not only did I create these institutions, but Burke has two schools, schools, and of course an empowerment center, because she broke that yoke. She attached herself to Pandey and the UNC, and it's the same thing that has happened to the other Baptist groups, but they didn't reach the level of Burke as yet, because they still gravitated back, so they're moving forward and holding back, they're pulling up their handbrakes, and so it will take more decades for them to reach the level at which Archbishop Burke has reached in just about 5 years. Let's tell him about.
One of the things I want to say, this is one thing I want to say.
Go ahead, my friend.
Like, we don't understand the history of where we came out of the colonial rule, right? And we don't understand that thing of moving forward. If you see, okay, our parents were beaten and murdered and raped and that kind of stuff, right? We're supposed to come out of that and transition ourselves into a modern world.
In the context of Laventille, the Laventillians left that up to the PNM because they trust the PNM to be a black man party, understand? And they will tell them those things. But their actions is different. And when this kind of discussion comes up, because they are listening, you're going to see that they will develop another kind of narrative. They will target probably me instead, of course, of the issue. Understand the wildness of the beast that we are dealing with, but not on this occasion. Not on this occasion. There are many more things that have not been said that is in the pipeline that you will see unfolding. Laventille, I ask you to do is to be part and parcel of the history. 39 seats for the UNC and whatever configuration in Trinidad.
All I have to say to Laventillians now, here's what happening. Vote the UNC.
That's all. And your problem solved.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, a final call, because I'm not going until 11 o'clock tonight. It's 13 minutes past 10 already. Ole won't catch me with that tonight. Go ahead. Talk a little louder. I ain't hearing him loud enough. Yes. Right, okay, right, good. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Beautiful dream, beautiful dream. One day I will tell you my own dream as a very young man. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, my friend. Yes, thank you. Yes, same to you. Well, I had my own dream as a very young man. That time I had all black hair, and now is almost totally gray. But Moses had a dream as well, and he did not enter the promised land, but at least he was able to take his successor to the edges, to the periphery, and then of course others would have the responsibility of getting the children of Israel into the promised land. Well, I want to say similar here. I may not lead you into the promised land. I may not be around for the total transformation. In other words, but certainly these kinds of discussions are very healthy. And let me tell you something. PNM ain't like that. They will be marking. They will do all what they can in order to keep the status quo as it is. But you have a duty and responsibility as Laventillians to say enough is enough. Is it that Lennox is talking nonsense? Is it that what he's saying is not true? Is it that you need more proof of what transpired already, what is possible? I don't think so. But in case you do, I want to tell you that I'm an open book. Call me at 337-6940. We have work to do. If you're a past student, I would love, of course, to get your communications. And if you misplace your certificate for one reason or another, well, of course, I've given you an incentive to call me, so at least you will put it back as part of your, or replace it as part of your academic achievements coming out of an institution that is so revered and so critical. The Technology and Continuing Education Center joke compared to what we were doing over that period that effectively, of course, was, should I say, became partially dormant. So I wouldn't say totally, but partially dormant by year 2000. But certainly from 1984 to that, over 6,000 young persons benefited from that program. Just imagine if that 6,000 we didn't take charge and make the necessary intervention. You could imagine how worse the situation would have been today. And just as God, Christopher, take away that program from him, training young people in computer literacy and homework assistance. Your common sense will tell you that those who were there and there's no alternative that may have been part and parcel of that cadre of individuals. I'm not saying it's so, but they may have gravitated in such a way that they contributed, of course, to the over 600 murders that occurred last year. We are about prevention. We are about prophylactic approaches. We are about the true sustainable development of our community. And damn those who, of course, feel offended by us talking the truth about our circumstance and to look at solutions, because there are solutions. And if you're the man or woman, bring a solution. Tell me what you have done. And finally, for tonight, of course, I want to tell you, yes, I finished the scenario with respect to the 1990 coup. But let me tell you something. Not only did I take the welding class and weld every single building, reinforce them. After, of course, the coup, we went as far as to those stanchions, those vertical steel, pieces of steel in phase 4 in the Beetham, that now houses, of course, new buildings. But when they didn't have a recreational ground there, I took the welding class down there as a sense of pride and as a sense of give back to the community. And we cut out all of these stanchions so that they could have an open place in order to play basketball and play small goal, etc. Anybody who is living there still from those days will tell you it's the MLIO and its presence that created a recreational space for phase 4. And there are other things I can tell you. But more importantly, when the issue of repairing those bases, the metal that the marshal of the parliament will take before the speaker or before the president of the Senate settles down, yes, that golden thing and that silver, I call it a baton, but a big silver one. Before that is placed. But let me tell you something. It was I, Lennox Smith, who wrote to the Speaker of the House and the President of the House, Emmanuel Carter, in the latter case, and of course, he's still alive today, a lawyer who was the Speaker of the House at the time. And I told him because of the involvement of Laventille in the 1990 coup, and we want to demonstrate, the rest of us want to demonstrate that we will never be part of anything that will, of course, forcefully or violently overthrow a government. We wanted to repair those two maces. And everybody was saying, let it go to England because it was gifted by, I think, some institution in England. And we said no. And we had a guy who was working Y Dilemma, living in Mova. And we went to Y Dilemma and we said, listen, we would put up the money, all of us, donations from all over the place. And we paid Y Dilemma. The speaker and the president was shocked, so much so that when it was repaired, and it was repaired perfect, both of them, from that day onwards, I was given a special invitation. Every time Parliament is to open, I will get an invitation. These days it's not so because the PNM don't like progress and persons who, of course, could out their political lights, so to speak, or could outshine them. But more than that, and I don't have it now, I don't know, in moving, of course, so we lost it. They wanted to give us a replica of it, a small one, but they gave us a picture of it because they wanted to bring it up in MLIO facility in the same dirty, yes, shed that Fernandez gave us, donated for the 300 youths that were training there over these years. Yes. And they were minded, of course, to bring it up so that we could hand it over to the Speaker and the President of the Senate. But the police special branch advised not to, so we didn't get a chance. So what they gave us was, of course, 2 pictures of both Maces of Parliament. And just in case you feel it's a joke, when the Commission of Inquiry came into the 1990 coup, I went as a witness. And I gave my testimony exactly what I just told you, that our intention was to restore democracy, because all of us in Laventille did not believe, of course, in removing a government by violence. And guess what? In the report, go and look at it now. In the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the 1990 coup, you will see, apart from the police, apart from the army, apart from the fire service, you will see MLIO, the only non-governmental institution that they said there should be a special minted award and given to these organizations, are waiting on it still. As all of the others are still waiting. I am going to make sure it happens when the UNC gets into government. We did that. You're telling me that we cannot transform Laventille ourselves? People, there is more. There is much, much, much more. There is much, much, much more. And by now you should know I'm a fella, I don't talk without action. Because I believe in the notion, in the quote, in the maxim, that an ounce of action is better than a pound of talk. What we're letting them have is only talk. Action is what is required here. So nobody, and I'll put them in their place based on facts and what has been done. Because nobody else in Trinidad and Tobago has been able to do those things that I'm disclosed to you tonight. Nobody. Go and check. Pull up, Google the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the 1990 coup and go to the back of it where they talk about awards. And you will see in the lineup of police, army, soldier, of course, fire service, etc., MLIO, Mobile Laventille Improvement Organization, to be given an award for their efforts in of course, in the aftermath of the 1990 coup. It's not joke talk. It's serious business. So you understand why I will not contest, but Love will, of course, put up, and I will remain, of course, the political leader of Love. And I will, of course, be on the campaign in Port of Spain South, in Laventille West, in Laventille East. Those are the constituencies that the Laventille Outreach for Vertical Enrichment was designed for. It's a regional party. And those of you who on the last occasion, I think it was 2020, telling me, well, listen, you're contesting the election as Love, but of course you can't form no government. So therefore, what we voted for you for? But I want to tell you this time around, you will have no excuse, no such excuse. When of course the announcement is made as to what role we'll be playing in terms of the what? Of the UNC-led coalition of interests initiative. You have no choice now. Let me see what you'll do. Let me see what you're going to do. You abandon yourself again? Abandon yourself again. Let me see that. You can't tell me that we ain't going to get into government, because as a political leader of one of the entities, just as Roger, just like Kamala, just as the other parties, PEP, Philip Alexander, it's obvious that I will be given a special assignment. And I want you to know too, that I will make it my duty to make sure that what we want for Laventille will be etched in the manifesto that will of course be the document for the 2025 elections led by Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC. Just as what I did in 2007. I Nobody could talk to me on these matters. None. Nobody. None. I say so don't have contradiction. None. I like Cassius Clay right now. I say what I could do, and I do what I say. The rest of you, follow or catch up. Say what you do, and then you can talk. Otherwise, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. In 2007, if you watch the manifesto of the UNCA, you will see a special section in it for Laventille alone. But of course, I know what the problem was. The problem was that we were new and the people didn't know. Now you know, and I'll make sure that you know, because social media is such that I could go until 1 o'clock in the morning. But I will not burden you further. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow morning on the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And of course, tomorrow night as we resume these and other discussions. We weren't able, of course, to finish the video that we had lined up for you, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise as the Lord moves in mysterious ways, His wonders to perform. Yes, indeed. So we have come to the end of tonight's program. And of course, I expect that you will do what is required in order to treat with the issues of the day. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I went to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago in August 2003. As a minister of government in Trinidad and Tobago, a PNM minister, and told him that there was bid rigging taking place in Udicott.
Patrick, could I be like you? Yes. Should I fool the people too? Yes. You see, all these years I sing in calypso, I sing in the tune. Still can't win the crown. They just teach me in tongue. Can't buy my own house, no. Look at renting still. But just like you, is a palace I want to build. Maybe I have to be a politician in TNT. Cause calypso money, there be no palace for me. I want a palace just like yours, with about 300 doors. Calypso can't give me that. I'm telling you flat, flat, flat. One fish for 20,000. I want about 10 dozen. Diplomatic center too. I dream to keep fit like you. Patrick, could we start building soon? Yes. Could we start in the month of June? Yes. Did you take land from the poor? Yes. Will they still vote you for sure? Yes. Oh no. 1 million. 2 million. 3 million. 4 million. 1 billion. Who said? 2 billion. Daddy, could you tell me what's the qualification that I must have to be a politician? When I grow up, you must swear on Bible and take false oath. You must use big words to get votes. You must lie and watch me straight in the eye. Oh, son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must shun people when election done. Well, son, that's the qualification of a politician. Daddy, could you tell me what's the qualification that I must have to be a politician? When I grow up, you must swear on Bible and take false oath. You must use big words to get votes. You must lie and watch me straight in the eye. Oh, son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must shun people when election done. Well, son, that's the qualification of a politician. Daddy, could you tell me what's the qualification that I must have to be a politician? When I grow up, you must swear on Bible and take false oath. You must use big words to get votes. You must lie and watch me straight in the eye. Oh, son, that's the qualification of a politician.
Good evening to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Today is Sunday, February 23rd, 2025, and this is Operation Liberation. In the closing stages of the the Caribbean Heads of Government conference held here in Barbados, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley, stated that gangs should be classified as terrorist organizations. Mr. Rowley, I would like to say to you, sir, in fact, I can't call you sir. That's too good a term to address you by. I gotta say boy, because your behavior to date has been nothing more than juvenile, asinine behavior. And one of the things that I have to say to you is that Trinidad and Tobago signed the UN Security Resolution 1373 Anti-Terrorist Act on the 20th of September 2001. Also, prior to that, on the 19th of July 2007, Trinidad and Tobago also agreed and acceded to the Bioweapons Convention. Trinidad and Tobago also signed the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2018, which prohibits the use of biological weapons and also prohibits the assistance, financing, and supporting of the use of biological weapons. Trinidad and Tobago also signed on the 25th of September 2013 the Arms Trade Treaty. But yet, you come to Barbados and sit down in a Caribbean Heads of Government conference and tell the CARICOM members that gang members need to be classified as terrorists. I want to ask you one question, Mr. Rowley, and being as your head is shining brighter than your future right now, I would like you to answer this question to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Who are the real terrorists? Trinidad and Tobago has recorded 3,702 murders between 2018 and 2024, and is still ongoing because of policies your PNM government put in place at the behest of a criminal organization such as the World Health Organization, led by a known terrorist, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who was being instructed by the terrorist organization of the Central Intelligence Agency, being funded by US aid for using US taxpayers' money and directed by the Bank of International Settlements, the OECD, the Inter-American Development Bank, as well as the criminal Democrat Biden administration led by Joe Biden and other terrorists. Who are the real terrorists? Furthermore, you, under your administration, implemented biological weapons in violation of UN Security Resolutions 1373. And the most egregious of all is that on paragraph 4, it says, I quote, with concern the close connection between international terrorism and transnational organized crime, illicit drugs, money laundering, illegal arms trafficking, and illegal movement of nuclear, chemical, biological, and other potentially deadly materials, and in this regard emphasizes the need to enhance coordination of efforts on national, sub-regional, regional, international levels in order to strengthen a global response to this serious challenge and threat to international security. What have you done? You have violated that UN Security Resolution by allowing armed gangs to operate in Trinidad with full knowledge of your government. In addition, you are in violation of 18 US Code 175, the prohibition of biological weapons, which states, whomsoever knowingly develops, produces, stockpiles, transfers, acquires, retains, or possesses any biological agent or delivery system for use as a weapon, or knowingly assists a foreign state or any organization to do so, or attempts, threatens, or conspires to do the same, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for life or any term of years or both. Mr. Rowley, you and the PNM will be brought to justice via the Caribbean COVID Crimes Criminal Justice Tribunal. You are nothing more than a corrupt terrorist organizer, and you are a corrupt political leader whom the rest of the corrupt Caribbean leaders have now sought to pay tribute to, simply because you are now covering your dirty little backside, trying to run away from the justice that is coming. The people of the Caribbean will hold you accountable, and you will be tried, you will be convicted, and you will be executed for the crimes against humanity. Have a good evening.